Hey there, everybody. It's Steven from Timebite, and I got something for you before you listen to this great podcast that's about to hit you right in the face, and that is that you should go check out Anchor, man. This website helps you for free start you up with any podcast that you would like in your little head to be making. Because you can record from your phone, you can record from your computer, man. You can distribute on iTunes, on Spotify, wherever your little heart desires, because your little grubby hands deserve it anyway. You can. There's no minimal listenership to get yourself started with getting anything that you want done, and everything's just in one place, man. Just go check it out. It's Anchor. It's the Anchor app or Anchor.fm on the internet. So, hopefully you enjoy the podcast. You are now listening to Timebite, hosted by me, Stephen Clark. Hopefully you enjoy the podcast. Hey there, everybody. It's your boy Steve once again for episode 92 of Timebite. 92 episodes. That's crazy. I want to thank everyone for listening for all these 92 episodes. It's awesome. It's great. And it's pretty cool. But today, I'm having someone on I haven't had on my podcast and God knows how long forever it's been. I can actually look it up right now and tell you how long it's actually been. Let's see. Was it? I'm trying to remember if you were like the first year or the second year. You're probably the second year. No, I want to get my facts right. I should have done this beforehand, but stupid me didn't use my brain and been like, hey Steven, you better look up the photo before you press that record button, or else you're going to look stupid in front of the microphone. And be like, yeah, you're probably right, brain. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, you're episode 53. The first time I had you. And here we are. What's that?
I was just gonna say it's been about 50 episodes, man.
It's been that long, and yeah, 53 episodes, and my God, here we are today. So
it's good to be back, man. It's good to be back on.
Hey, thanks. So one thing I wanted to bring up that I was telling you about, like, remember when you came out last time and we brought the idea of, like, oh, the Slice Brothers or whatever, where you'd be like two Italian guys, like one's New York and one's Chicago pizza.
Oh
yeah. I feel like you should take that idea of the pizza holder thing that your trainer gave you and just buy a bunch of them and be the Slice Brothers in one section of the country and just like pass those out.
I mean that may work at some point. Well, you never know. Wrestling's weird. I may get a chance to do that at some point down the line. But the Master of the Bear Hug thing is going pretty good for me so far.
Yeah, I mean it's a great gimmick. I mean, there's no like questioning that. It's a great gimmick. I mean, like, because there's nothing like that today besides you doing it. But like, step us through everything that's happened between then and now, pretty much.
Oh man, so much. So let's see, that would have been what, a year ago, right?
Yeah, like a year ago.
So let's see, a year ago, I was just basically doing some shows here in Chicago and across the country and in Florida, and just really starting to get the name out there and make something out of Steve Michales. And since then, I've had a lot of amazing opportunities presented to me and chances in my career. I had a tryout with Impact Wrestling. I did some extra work with Impact. I've been wrestling in more states. I've wrestled out in Long Island. The last match I had was in Austin, Texas. And most importantly, I've joined the Ohio Valley Wrestling roster as one of their talents on their newly nationally syndicated television show, OVW Wrestling, and that's a thrill to be signed to not just OVW, but to be on a nationally televised wrestling program, because not a lot of people get to say that.
Yeah. Because I remember, because before, when we were talking before, you said that at that time you were about to go to a match in Puerto Rico because you had the chance to do a match with Tommy Dreamer, but you had to turn it down because you had a match in Puerto Rico you had to do. So how'd that match in Puerto Rico go?
The show in Puerto Rico went great. Ended up working a couple matches in Puerto Rico for a couple different promotions down there. And Puerto Rico's an amazing island, and it's an amazing place to wrestle. I mean, there's so much pro wrestling history there, and I felt very, very lucky to get the chance to follow in the footsteps of some of the great wrestlers that have wrestled in Puerto Rico, and to get a chance to ply my craft in front of those crowds.
So as you were saying before that, now you're under contract with OVW, which you probably noticed, but they used to be the training facility for the WWE before they sold them off and they became their own thing. Do you think if they were still under like the WWE umbrella as their training system, that you would that would have helped you get into WWE if that was like the one that you wanted to go? If WWE was the place you wanted to go, do you think that they would have noticed you faster and put you through like to the main roster that way, or do you think that you would be in OVW for a long time before they start to notice you because you're getting your feet wet and all that?
Well, I mean, it's OVW is really kind of an amazing it's an amazing place, because currently, or they were, I'm not sure if what's going on with it, but I believe I know we were the developmental system for Impact when I joined on with OVW, and the roster there is so deep and so talented. There's so many great guys there that are everywhere from newer wrestlers that are just kind of starting out to guys that have been wrestling for 20, 25 years and have made a name for themselves and are stars there at OVW now, and people that have been at OVW for 15 years who have seen all these names come through there. It's kind of a just like a microcosm of what professional wrestling is. And I honestly, I mean, yeah, of course, if they were still the WWE developmental system, the eyes would be on me there. I know, and as a part of the Impact developmental system, Impact was always watching our shows and our matches, so Impact's eyes were always on me and on the rest of the roster. So yeah, I mean, it definitely helps with getting to that next level. But as OVW, as promotion and a company has evolved, um, it's become its own national promotion now. So it doesn't it it gives that platform that uh, that everybody wants to have. I mean, we're being shown in, I think, combined like 51 million households across the U.S. and Canada, U.S., Puerto Rico, and Canada, I believe.
That's that's pretty cool, actually. Getting the now they're getting the nationwide view of space on television. Does Deep South still exist, or do they go under in the way of OVW?
I am not sure. I haven't heard of them in quite a bit, so I don't think they exist anymore.
Have now that you work for OVW, are you starting to realize that there's like some hidden gems that you didn't know, because John Cena went through there, Batista went through there, Randy Orton went through there, but have you watched the past OVW stuff and been like, hey, I didn't know he went through here and then went there. Did you ever have that situation?
There's so many people that have gone through OVW that it's pretty hard. It's pretty easy to forget some of the names. I mean, when you walk into the main locker room area of OVW, along the walls are all of the Impact and WWE headshots and promo photos of all of these guys and girls that have made it. There's photos of Cena and Lesnar and Orton and Batista, but there's photos of CM Punk and The Miz and John Morrison, and I think Victoria's photos up there, and ODB is up there. So many people have passed through that locker room and have wrestled in that ring. And when you enter the Davis Arena down in Louisville, you just get this feeling of history.
Mm-hmm.
As I just turned 33, and I remember those days of ruthless aggression, and you're familiar with that famous class of wrestlers that came out of there with Nick Dinsmore and those guys. And now when you walk in and you see this building, which is essentially pretty much unchanged since then, you kind of, it's a very humbling feeling to know that you get to enter that same ring and change in the same locker rooms. And it's a very special place, and it's pretty humbling, honestly.
I mean, they gotta make room. They gotta put a picture up there of one certain Chicago Bear hug one day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, and I think that's one of the reasons why why all those photos are up there on the wall, so you can see the dozens and dozens of people and wrestlers that have made it and have been where I am and where that locker room is, and have been able to take it to that next level and make their millions and do and live the dream. And OVW is giving me that platform now to become a superstar,
Mm-hmm.
and I think OVW's time is now. They're doing a lot of moves thanks to Al Snow and Chad, who there's the guys that run that place. They've been working so hard behind the scenes, along with all the staff, just to make it this premier promotion. and it's really cool to now be a part of that and to be witnessing it firsthand and to say that I was there.
So, after you go through OVW for as long as you're wanting to, all right, when it comes to like the next step, like after you're done with your run OVW and you did everything you can do there, and it's time to make that next step. When it comes to like going to a bigger promotion, which one would you personally like to go to? Would you personally like to go to WWE, or would you personally want to go to AEW or Impact, or where would you personally like to be?
Honestly, and I'll be completely honest. I'm happy with where I am currently at OVW. I think they're making a lot of moves to make themselves a premier company that you can say in the same breath as AEW or WWE. But if once my time in OVW is up, whenever that is, hopefully it's not for a long, long, long time. I would happily go over to AEW. I know people over there. I would happily go to WWE. I've got a lot of friends over there too. It's they all have their advantages and they all have their disadvantages, and it really all depends on where I'm at that stage of life, and in my career, what would make the most sense for me. It's wrestling's odd in that you can't, most jobs have a linear kind of upward slope where okay, well, after this, then my next goal is to be assistant manager and then manager. And with wrestling, it's harder to say, well, maybe in 5 years' time, I'll, hopefully in 5 years, OVW will be on, like TNT or something like that, and they'll have that major super national exposure, or and maybe that's what will be good for me, or maybe it will be one of those things where I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing a WWE travel schedule, but AEW is looking good, or it really all depends. It's hard to foresee the future in wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So, so being in OVW right now, what is your favorite moment that you've done? So, please, you have to, excuse my facts about OVW because I haven't watched it. Like, I haven't really watched it, and so I don't know what you have done since you've gone there to right now. I've seen bits and pieces. I saw a promo that you did there, but like I haven't seen like a match or anything yet. But even though I should. But what is your favorite moment that you how my word that you have had since being in OVW?
Well, obviously that first match is always a huge kind of a moment. It's debuting in a place that you've watched and have DVDs of from, when you were a fan. So that's a memorable moment for me, making that debut and letting that debut. It was a dark match, but having that debut be a win was huge for me. My first televised match that I appeared in was a gauntlet match for their television title, which is huge. To make a TV debut in a title match is a big deal, and I'll never forget that and that opportunity. But more recently, we did I had a match in it was a private event that had paid OVW to show up and put on a show for them at this. I think it was a church function, like a men's retreat,
Mm-hmm.
and there were I think there were like 2,000 people there, like 1,800, 2,000 people. Um, and the ring was set up on the ground floor, and then it was all standing room only, and people, there was a big balcony above, and everyone is just kind of standing, looking down. It was a very kind of a Coliseum kind of feel. It actually reminded me a lot of, if you remember the first episode of Nitro, when they were in the Mall of America. Everyone's kind of standing around, and then everybody's looking over the balconies at all of them, and it's just it's this kind of amazing visual, and that's what it felt like. And that was a really kind of an amazing moment, and a great chance to wrestle for all those fans down in Kentucky that were into it. And honestly, I can't say I've had a single bad moment or a moment that I've really been unhappy about in OVW. It's again, it's a great place to work. It's to learn from Al Snow. Growing up, I watched Al, and a lot of people remember him as the kind of the comic relief to foil to Mick Foley, or his amazing European title run, which I find hilarious. But he's such a great mind in the business, and he helped train so many of those guys in WWE at that time. And to now be able to go into his office, talk to him have a first name basis, and kind of learn from him what can make me better as a wrestler is probably some of the best stuff and best moments I can have, is just learning from such a mind like his. Because a lot of people say it, and until you actually start watching his matches, and you with this in mind, the man has never had a bad match. Al Snow has never had a bad match in his career, and that's something that no one can say. But he's got such a good mind for the business, and he's such an underrated mind for the business, that just to be able to sit there and talk to him and be like, okay, well, why do we do this, and have him very matter of fact explain it to you, is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, because to someone like me who's looking as a fan and not someone who actually knows him, and you do, since you're in the business and you know him, you got to know him and all that stuff, you can look at his matches and be like, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But to someone like me, who just looks at it as a fan, after talking to you about how great his matches were, once people know facts like that about it, you can look back at these matches. Maybe he got his leg chopped off by a dog in a kennel match, or whatever that match was called. but he worked that thing like no other, and no one else could do what he could have done in that match. So
exactly, and I think that's the whole point. Is a lot of people, they remember him for Head, and they remember him, for talking to the mannequin head and making that, that was his thing, that was his gimmick. But if you actually watch his matches, they're so well put together, and they're believable. All of his matches, even if it's like you said, the Kennel from Hell match, they're believable. His role in the match makes everything believable, and I appreciate it so much. And it's honestly it's an honor to learn from him, because I was a fan of his as a kid growing up. I have his action figures. It's weird. That's for me. That's one of the weird things is, growing up, you have some of these guys as action figures, and now I'm sitting in his office, and he knows my name, and I've met his wife, and we've, to know these people, and to now be learning from them is such an honor. It really is.
Does when have they don't have the rights to your wrestling name, do they? I mean, like I don't. I mean, like I'm not trying to assume like Steve Michaels is your real name. I mean, but I'm saying, like, do they have rights to the Steve Michaels name, or do you own the Steve Michaels name, where you can use it wherever you want?
Yeah, I mean, I've been smart enough to trademark the Steve Michaels name. So I own Steve Michaels. Um, so that's one of those things that they, you know, that can't be taken away from me. So I'm still Steve Michaels wherever I go.
Did OVW ever like when you stepped into that building for the first time and started working for them, were they like, hey, you should try this, it would get you over faster? You know, like, have they ever tried to give you like things to get you over faster?
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously, I mean, it's very similar in production to like the way like WWE or AEW would work, where there's producers in the back, and there's you've got a full production crew, and then you've got the boss Al on at the very top, and everything kind of comes down from him. So I mean, they watch everything, and they've got the monitors in the back. So once you come to the back, it's like, hey, that was great, this was good. Maybe if you do this or change this up, or maybe if you try this, I mean, they're doing what they can to help to make their product better and to make me better, which makes their product better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, they've definitely given me some advice on match to match basis on things to do, which is always appreciated.
What was the weirdest thing they told you? Like, had they ever tell you like, hey, walk up to this guy over here and just like, I'm not saying slap him in the face, because they probably would never tell you that, but hey, walk up to this guy and like take his drink and just like throw it in his face. Like, had they ever done anything like that or something similar to that?
No. I mean, it's such a, everything is very professional down there. I mean, it's very much business, and I've become friends with a lot of the guys down there, and so maybe I'm in the ring and I'll say something to a guy who I'm tagging with or something, just to have a little fun with them in the ring. But I mean, there's never been anything like like disrespectful or anything like that ever.
Well, I mean, I feel like they would tell you that if you're trying to be like, I don't know if are you a heel there,
Yeah.
down there? Yeah. So I feel like they would like tell you stuff like that if you were trying to be like an over heel, but I see they're trying to take the heel perspective more of a serious heel sort of role, where you're not like, I'm gonna take like your popcorn and shove it in your mouth, and like you're gonna like it and like stuff like that. It's like you're verbally telling everyone to to shut up and watch me.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes there may be a time where there may be something where I'm like, hey, but it's usually between us. Like, that's not usually coming down from the top. If I want to, like gouge somebody's eye in a match, or just do something like that. But at the same time, we've got an athletic commission down there in Kentucky, which kind of limits some of the stuff we can do, and kind of protects everybody.
But where you do better? What do you like working better, a face or a heel? Do you like which one do you like doing better?
No, I mean, I love being a heel, man. Like, there's nothing better than being able to be a dick and get paid for it. Like, I mean, that's the kind of the fun reality of it. It's like, I get to be a jerk, and then like, okay, cool, thanks, here's your money. Like, that's awesome. It's fun.
Has there ever been when you were cutting a promo in the ring or even backstage, have when you're thinking about it, like I don't know if they tell I don't know if did they tell you what to say, or did they let you like say what you want to say first?
Yeah, I mean, usually I kind of get to say what I want to say. I may get some talking points, like you need to make sure you mention this, or you make sure you know you mention this upcoming show, or you get this point across. But I really get to pretty much say whatever I want to say, which I appreciate. I love the creative freedom.
Yeah, so I mean, like I was gonna ask then, like have you ever like wrote something down or thought of something to say, but like you actually go to say it, but it actually sounded better in your head than how it came out?
Oh yeah, all the time, absolutely all the time. I'm I'm one of those guys, and I think it frustrates some people, but I I know a lot of guys that write down all their promos and and have it all laid out ahead of time, and that there's nothing wrong with that. I can't do that though. I kind of, everything I say is just kind of off the hip, and is off the top of my head. And yeah, I mean, sometimes in my head when I'm going through something, I'm like, yeah, this is going to sound really good. And then when I say it, I'm like, oh, that was terrible. But you just got to kind of keep going because, especially if it's a live in-ring promo. And even if it's, the backstage, taped stuff, time is valuable,
Mm-hmm.
So I may say something and it may not hit in as well as I wanted it to, but it doesn't take away from everything else I said. So I may not get a chance to redo it, because they've got 3 other guys whose stuff they've got to film all within the next, 40 minutes.
Is there anything that you remember that you remember saying that you can like recite right now that was like, oh man, that like wish that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't have anything in particular that I can think of, but I know it happens pretty frequently. I wouldn't say pretty frequently, but I would say it definitely does happen, and I know for a fact there have been times where I've been in the ring and I said something that's like, I should have said, I misworded it, or that wasn't as pointed as I wanted it to be in my head, or I didn't deliver it just quite right, so it doesn't hit as well. But it happens, and it kind of sucks, but you deal with it, you move on, and there's not much you can do.
No, if I can give you something, like I don't know if you want to use this or not, but if I could give you some material, if you guys ever like do a show in Kentucky, like if you guys like do an OVW taping in Kentucky or something at some point, or you're just down there doing a live event and you just got cut a promo somehow, but you should bring up the fact that KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken is big down there, and so like you should say like while all of you people down here are eating your Kentucky Fried Chicken with your stale, terrible biscuits, you should watch real talent in this ring.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Like, I don't get a lot of chances to cut stuff in the ring, but I'll remember that, man.
Yeah, I thought I would give you the idea because their biscuits suck. Honestly, that's just me. I don't like their biscuits. But, so if I was a heel and I was doing something in Kentucky, I would bring up that fact.
Well, I mean, OVW has been running in Louisville for since their inception. I mean, they're based out of Louisville, Kentucky, at the Davis Arena, and we run there when we're not in lockdown, we run there every Tuesday night, and do a live TV taping. which airs. Well, that one airs live on locally that night. We have an hour-long show on local television, which then gets minor edits, and then is now put nationally on U2 America, and that's our national show. And then we have a secondary show called OVW Overdrive, which is a secondary show similar to the old Superstars show.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar in format to that, where we've got some talking head parts that advance storylines, and at the same time, you get 3 really solid matches as well on those shows, and the announcers there are phenomenal. I can't give those guys bigger props.
Yeah, because like I also want to ask, is that while you're like, if this whole thing wasn't going on, this whole virus thing wasn't happening right now, but when you're not doing television, do you just fly back to home until you gotta fly back to do television?
Yeah, so basically, I'm down in Louisville every Tuesday afternoon and night, filming, doing the live OVW show. I drive down there. It's only about a 4-hour drive, 4.5-hour drive. Drive down there. I'll drive back either that night or the next morning. And then I've got Wednesday, Thursday free, and then whatever additional independent bookings I want to do, or I can do the OVW house shows, depending on where I'm booked and when I'm booked.
Well, yeah, but like knowing that you're under OVW contract, I mean, when do you want to just like, I mean, not saying don't take any other bookings out because now you're under contract with them, but like when you want to just like now that you're in this mindset of like, I'm with OVW, I'm going to do their TV show, and I'm going to do all their house shows to get exposure from them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and look, I if OVW needs me at a show, I'm at the OVW show, but they've got such a deep roster, and they've got their own training center now, called the Al Snow Wrestling Academy, and it's actually it's the first state accredited school for professional wrestling in the world. So once you complete it, you get CPW can officially be put at the end of your name as a title for certified professional wrestler. And you're recognized by the state as an official, like legally as a professional. It's really it's amazing.
That's cool.
But they've got such a deep roster that they don't need me at every show. So I'm able to still take bookings across the country, which I like, because I'm still able to get my name out there more, and OVW likes it because then that gets one of their stars out there more, and it's really good for everyone.
Is there a promotion then outside of OVW that you would love to work? I mean, like, I don't know if you worked AEW, like AAW, the local Chicago promotion, that's the higher end one, but like, what is like that other promotion or what other independent promotion would you like to work the most?
Man, there's so many great promotions across the country. It's gonna sound like a cop out, and I get it, but I I want to work for everybody. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't. The way I look at it is every wrestling. You can only get better by wrestling different opponents. And the more places I wrestle, the more places I work, the more different wrestlers that I work, the better it is for me. Now, I would love to go overseas and wrestle for, a place like Progress. I think that would be that's a personal goal, to work over in Japan for New Japan is a massive personal goal.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to. A big personal dream of mine is to get an opportunity to wrestle in Japan, to wrestle in the UK. I mean, those are the places I'd love to work.
Yeah. How about Irish Whip Wrestling?
Where's that one at? I'm not entirely familiar.
I think they're in. I'm not sure where in Ireland they are, but I'm gonna. I didn't really do like I know they exist, but I think they're in like Dublin. I think they're in,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, I have no problem traveling. I've got my passport. I'll travel and I'll travel the world. It doesn't matter to me, man. Like, the more people who I wrestle, the better it is for me. So, and I think the better it is in general.
Yeah, I mean, like, because there's a lot of talent overseas over there. I mean, like, there's the British wrestling scene, obviously the huge Japanese wrestling scene, the like every country across overseas. Well, I mean, America has a really strong wrestling community too, but like, Europe is where it's at when it comes to the wrestling scene, almost.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the UK and Europe has really got a lot of stuff going for them right now. Germany's got some stuff popping up. Australia's got a heck of a scene right now, and I would love to go to Australia and work some of those guys. And shout out to my buddy EC Diamond out there. He's a hell of a worker out in Australia. But like, I mean, there's just so much going on in wrestling right now, and I think the advent of AEW and the internet shining more light on New Japan, places like that and the independent wrestling TV have made the wrestling fans see that there's wrestling everywhere, and it shined lights on a lot of these guys that arguably wouldn't have the light shined on them as much, at least here in America. And so I'm really kind of grateful for that.
Yeah, because I hold on. No, sorry, I just had to reword it. Have you ever had the chance or ever been given the opportunity to ever verse David Arquette?
No, I haven't. I heard that he there was talk of him possibly at some point coming into OVW, but that just never panned out for whatever reason. But no, I've never had the chance to work him. But I mean, he's a former WCW champion, so of course, I mean, I'd love to, wrestle a former WCW champion.
I mean, it's not really. No, I don't think his highlights really being. I mean, his big highlights, yeah, like he was a celebrity, came in and won the championship, and everyone hated him for it. But then he made the comeback, and now everyone started to love him because he's actually legit trying this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was doing a documentary about it, and that's why he was doing his big comeback. Is for this wrestling documentary. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I would wrestle him. I'm not adverse. I'm not adverse to wrestling anybody. Mm-hmm. Again, it all comes back to everybody's got a different style. Everybody's got a different personal viewpoint as to where they're coming from with the business. So, of course, I'd wrestle in a second.
I remember when we were talking last time. I brought up on that Freddie Mercurio guy, the Freddie Mercury that wrestles these days.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, that's some he's pretty good. I don't know where he got it from, but he's pretty good, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a good gimmick, man. It's a real good gimmick. I dig it.
Did you see the wrestling Michael Jackson in Brazil?
I have, yeah. I've seen that. Like wrestling it's in this weird spot where you're able to try odd and like somewhat ridiculous things now, and there's a spot for it. There's a spot for it now, regardless of if it's wrestling, the wrestling Michael Jackson, or if it's the doing working smarter and having the dick flip as your finish. Like there's a place for all of it now, and I think that's really kind of one of the positives about this whole new era in professional wrestling.
Do you think that you would ever do a special thing for your birthday where you had a birthday Royal Rumble and you have you and all your friends just come do a special Royal Rumble just for your birthday?
Well, I mean, look, my birthday is right around WrestleMania season. So I mean, if someone is willing to give me the ring and willing to give me the money to do it, and to put on a show, I would love to do it. And not I wouldn't want to do one of those things where all it does is get me over, I would want to do a show that puts everyone else over and shines some light on guys that may not have the spotlight on them. I think there's a lot of guys on the independent scene right now that are good workers, that are strong workers, but they just they haven't had the opportunity given to them yet for one reason or another. And if I was given a chance to book a show and to put together a card of 7-8 matches, those are the guys who I would put on it.
I feel like the best, if you were to do that, I feel like it'd be so cool. Like if you're a heel, if you're doing that and you're a heel and everyone knows you for a heel, you do everything that you just said, but except at the end, you I don't know if you would make yourself the main event or whatever, but whatever part you come out at, you should just be yeah, everyone on this show is pretty good and I support how good they are, but maybe there's nothing like me out there.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, in reality, I'd probably just put myself in a tag match at the start of the show. If I'm doing it, I don't want my name's going to be on the show anyway. You don't have to put me in the main event. I want to help make other guys that wouldn't be at that level, mm-hmm. That wouldn't have their name on the show. So I mean, there's guys down in OVW like Tony Bizzo and Luscious Lawrence that should have the eyes of the world on them, but they don't have it on them yet. It's going to happen. I can guarantee you right now, those two names I told you, they'll have the eyes of the world on them at some point, pretty soon. But these are guys that deserve to have those spotlight moments, and those are the type of people that I put on my show. I want to get other people over.
Because I actually if I can throw this out there, I had a guy in my podcast in the past who books a wrestling show every single year to raise money for cancer, and he's always looking for guys always to work his show. I can if you want me to, I can slide your name in there and see if you would be interested in working his fighting for a cure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down for that, especially like charity shows. I'm starting to work with there's an event down in Joliet, Illinois. That's like a family fun fest event. For like, I think it's for like lower income families and that. But I appeared on their show. I appeared at their Fun Fest doing a meet and greet last year because I met the guy that runs the whole thing by happenstance on a flight to Orlando. Were sitting next to each other. We started talking, and one thing led to another. But I might be getting an opportunity this year to put on 4 or 5 matches for this guy and for this fun fest. So I may get a chance to book a couple of these guys that I've been wanting to book and get some exposure. So we'll see.
Yeah, because this I don't know when he's doing it, but it's down in Florida, so yeah, I know if you have the time if it's right place, right time, and it just happens to work out, then there it is.
Yeah. I mean, once we're off the air, shoot me that info, and we can figure it out, and I'll always, I'm always happy to help out a charity event.
What is the every wrestler has this story. What's the highest crowd you competed in front of, and what's the lowest you ever competed in front of?
I mean, the highest was probably that show I mentioned in front of like 2,000 people for OVW. That was something. It was literally just a sea of people around the ring, just having a good time. And I was the opener that night for that show, and I wrestled that guy that I mentioned earlier, Luscious Lawrence. We went out there. We worked like 10 minutes, I think. Put on a good, fun match, and that was a blast. And the lowest crowd I've ever worked for was, if we're talking about paid attendance, it was like a paid attendance of like 1. It was a paid attendance of like, it was, and I think that's even arguable. It was either 0 or 1, and there's some debate as to whether or not that 1 was actually a paid. There were a lot of people in this building for this show, but there was a paid attendance of 1, and that was that whole thing was a train wreck. But yeah, I mean, it happens. Sometimes different factors happen, and
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not in front of a great crowd, but you still do everything you can, and you put on the best match you can.
Now I know it's kind of a bad time to do this because virus, but like if you really wanted to, this is the perfect time for you to do an empty arena match if you really wanted to do one.
Well, in reality, there may be a lot more. I think a lot of people are being, I know AEW is being forced to do empty arena shows, and WWE is being forced to do empty arena shows, and currently OVW is on hiatus until May, at least, due to the Kentucky Athletic Commission putting a stop on boxing and wrestling events. But that may change. I mean, this whole thing's in such flux right now that, from week to week and day to day, you really never know what's going on. So we'll see. They may open it up to us being able to do shows with no crowds, but I think a lot of us indie guys have work shows with no crowds anyway, so we'll be able to adjust just fine to that.
Because I feel like knowing that you're an actually competitor and I'm just a fan and I never did a match ever in my life. For your side of things, when you do if you were to do an empty arena match and you did all like your stuff and you did all your things and all that, like would it feel weird when like if you like do like your highest done move or your highest pop that gives you the highest pop and then you do it and then there's no reaction? It's like, man, this feels strange.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely odd. I mean it would have probably more of a training exhibition type feel to it, but I mean I think everybody at training has wrestled full matches in front of no crowds. You know, we've done training in empty gyms and empty warehouses and stuff in front of just our own peers, and so I think in reality it probably wouldn't be that much different than, you know, okay, here comes a big slam, boom, just echoes, there's no real response because, you know, there's no one there. And yeah, I mean it's definitely a different dynamic than most of us are used to, but I don't think it would be super tough to adjust.
Yeah, because you gotta remember when the camera's on you, you gotta still look angry and yell at the chairs.
Yeah, I mean it's all a completely different dynamic because I mean you don't have the crowd to play off of, you don't have the crowd to taunt, you don't have the crowd to talk to. It's an empty arena and they can hear everything you're saying, and it's you've got to kind of up your vocals and everything, and a lot of the technical stuff changes, but the general basics of the match stays the same.
Yeah, because before this whole thing hit, I was so like I was so like into wanting like, oh, they should do the empty arena match again. Like, you know, it hasn't been done since Rock and Mankind in '99, but now the whole thing hit and I'm getting it all the time, and now I'm just like, it's cool, but like don't let it go too long.
Yeah, it's definitely odd. It's odd to watch it. I mean, I watched, like I think pretty much everybody else, I watched WrestleMania, and it was definitely odd to watch an empty WrestleMania. But at the same time, you know, in this time where, you know, we don't have baseball, we don't have hockey, we don't have basketball, we don't have, you know, all, you know, racing, like all the things that we're used to, we don't have anymore. So I appreciate the fact that AEW and WWE are going on with the show and are putting on events to give entertainment to the world that we're not getting anywhere else. And I think I give them a lot of credit because they're in a position right now to do something special and do something different to kind of be a positive in society and help people forget for a couple hours every Monday or Friday and Wednesday. And that's exactly what they're doing. So my hat's off to all those guys.
Do you think it's safe though? Because, you know, they say social distancing 6 feet apart.
You know, I don't know. I don't know what kind of health and safety procedures they've got going on, and I don't want to speculate. And I've got to assume that they're doing their due diligence to keep everyone safe. That they're doing, you know, checking temperatures and things like that before each show. I've got to assume that that's what's going on. But at the same time, you know, I mean, if you're, you know, at least for me, I've been in my house for the past about 3 weeks now. So, and I haven't had any interaction with anyone else. So I know that if that's what everyone else is doing, then I would feel more comfortable wrestling somebody, you know, on this show if I know everybody else is taking things serious and just staying home and trying to do their part to stay inside and keep everyone else healthy.
Yeah, because it's just, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, that Boneyard match, I mean, like, I know the world's buzzing about that right now, but, like, with this virus going around, I mean, like, he was, like, cutting himself open and rolling on the dirt. I mean, that's the most germiest thing ever. Who knows? He may call it by the end of that match. Who knows?
Yeah, do you know what? I gotta say, all of WrestleMania, my two favorite matches, and it's probably the same with everybody else. It was the Boneyard and the Firefly Funhouse match. But I mean, you've got to do what you've got to do, and again, it's WrestleMania, so you know if at WrestleMania that's what you got to do, then that's what you got to do, and Undertaker's, you know, he's the epitome of professional, and you know, he knows what he's doing. He knows he's doing what he thinks is for the good of the business, and I wouldn't be one to disagree with that.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they were, you know, playing it safe. Obviously, when they were reciting it all out to the camera, and like, you know, they were trying to play it safe as much as they could with all that dirt and all that stuff. But I'm sure they're okay. Like, I'm pretty sure AJ and Undertaker, I'm pretty sure their health is all right. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they're all fine, and it's, you know, even now I know WWE just, you know, all they did is they filmed a bunch of stuff and put it in the cans so that they, you know, because they're now, you know, the Performance Center's now on lockdown due to that being in Orlando, and you know they can't make any more shows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all kind of interesting right now.
With the Performance Center being locked down, I'm surprised they're able to still do Raw and SmackDown and all that stuff. I'm surprised they're just not doing like highlight reels or playing like old episodes just to you know, make the time go by until they can come back and actually do it live again.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to keep doing live, like, well, not live shows, but I think they have to keep doing new episodes as long as they can, which is why you know, they did, you know, from what I've heard, they have done a bunch of episodes and just kind of put them in the can and have them available so they can, you know, be good for the next month.
Like pre-record for the whole month until they can.
Yeah, that's what I heard they did. Is that they just pre-recorded shows for the rest of the month so that they can get through, and then hopefully by then it's, you know, it's all done with, and if not, then they've got to figure something else out. But
I always wondered, how's the Wisconsin wrestling scene like? Is the scene up there good, or is it like it's Wisconsin? You know how it is, you know, stuff like that.
No, I mean, look, there's some really good wrestlers up in the Wisconsin area. I haven't had many opportunities to wrestle up in Wisconsin. But I mean, I wrestled. I think I've only wrestled 2 shows up in Wisconsin. And they've all, you know, they've both been decent experiences. You know, it is what it is. I mean, wrestling's different everywhere. I'm not gonna talk negatively about any place I've ever worked, you know?
Yeah. No, it'd be like, no, it brought like it'd be funny if one of the shows up there was called like Fighting for the Cheddar.
Well, I mean, I think they've got Frozen Tundra Wrestling is up there, and stuff like that. So I mean, there are places that play around with the, you know, the nature of Wisconsin in general.
The stereotypes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wrestler based on the Green Bay Packers who wears like the cheese head and the jersey and the paint and all that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean there probably is somewhere up north in Wisconsin. I haven't seen him. If there is though.
Oh man, well we've been going for an hour and 3 minutes, man.
Oh wow. Yeah, this has been fun though, man. It's been good to catch up and talk to you and to do this show again.
Is there I'm just wondering. It's not like I ran out of questions or anything, but like I wanted to ask if there's anything you wanted to ask me this whole time if you did.
No, I mean I appreciate you having me on. I really do. It's I know I've been trying to figure this out and trying to get this nailed down for a little bit here, but I'm glad we connected on this.
Yeah, it was great. It was such a great experience. Let me do I'll do my outro and I'll let you do yours. Thank you everyone for listening to episode. What did I say it was? Oops, 92. Yeah, episode 92 of Cyber Timebite. Everyone. I want to let you all know that you can check me out on Facebook at Cyber Timebite. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at NostalgiaVant. Buy my merchandise at Redbubble.com under Crash Steven Gear because I'm not in pro wrestling tees like my man over here, but you know that would be cool, but I'm not a wrestler, so I can't be on there. Yeah, pick up my Spork t-shirt where even you know that the Spork is the most powerful of them all and you'll enjoy it and you'll love it. How about and for you want to share your social medias and have people know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Chicago Bear Hug. So it'd be facebook.com/Chicago Bear Hug, and then at Chicago Bear Hug on Instagram and Twitter. You can buy a couple of my t-shirts from prowrestlingtees.com/Chicago Bear Hug. I like to try and keep it easy and simple so people don't forget. And then this is new. You can if you go to collarandelbow.com on their website and use the promo code BEARHUG, you can get a discount on all your merchandise there. I'm now one of their brand ambassadors. And then if you don't mind, I'm gonna can I plug the OVW show?
Yeah, go right ahead.
The national TV show?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So it is on, let me pull the exact date info here. It is on the channel U2 America, YOUTOO. It airs at midnight Eastern, 11 Central, and that's every Friday. It's also available on Roku and Time Warner, Mediacom, Suddenlink all have U2 America on it, and OVW is also available via the Binge app and on Amazon Fire Stick. So you can check out old episodes and the new current episodes every Friday when they get released nationally.
And I gotta do the stick. And how much is it for all this?
The OVW Network app is, I believe it's like $9.99.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, well, actually, it's free. And I was going like, it's free, everybody.
The official OVW app is $9.99, but you get access to all of the old episodes. But all the other apps, the Binge app, all that stuff, completely free. So if you go on Binge, use the Binge app. We're featured heavily on there, and OVW episodes and OVW Overdrive episodes are all free.
That's pretty awesome. Well, you heard from the man himself. You can go check him out on all those things. Buy his merch. Follow him on social media. This guy's the man. He's basically the hometown boy of the Chicagoland. So check him out. It'd be awesome. And for this podcast, at least, I hope all of you have a great and fantastic day. Have a good one.